Drop all bio-bombs. They can't be allowed to approach any closer. The Fae commander screamed, his forelimbs gesturing wildly. Another salvo of toxic canisters were released from Fae bombers overhead. The parachutes attached to each of them slowing their descent so they could spray their deadly cargo on the approaching Deathworlders. All the Fae could do was wait. It should have been Fae with an F, but somebody pointed out there may be too many chances of that file ending up in the Human Resources datanet instead. Fae being an all too popular name since the 500th reboot of J.R.R. Tolkien's masterwork, they were all bad. Never should mess with perfection, which is what the lumbering Terran apes almost did to this world. Green trees, lush forests, clean lakes and rivers, and perfect weather year-round made this an ideal colony world for human settlers. The problem was that the planet was already occupied. An accidental destruction of a main Fae trading center when someone's dog relieved itself on it pretty much outraged the Fae populace. I mean, how would you feel if you are minding your business, shopping for food and household items, when a torrential flood of foul-smelling liquid sprayed from all the upper floor windows all but flushed you out of the produce section? Hasty diplomatic communiques were sent and rebuffed. Declarations of protest escalated. Gifts were sent to the main Fae population centers. Foodstuffs and recordings of Terra's classical music seemed to ease the tensions, as the Fae responded in kind. But the negotiations suddenly ceased after the last shipment of gifts were sent. Terran flowers and a case of Terra's finest wine for the nobility and cases of beer for their military. After that came an official declaration of war against any and all Deathworlders seeking to kill us mercilessly. At least, that is how the message translated. This is the situation that Frank and Jelena found themselves in. She had been the closest diplomat to the Fae main capital and had hastily organized a diplomatic mission to try and save the peace. She was not pleased when she was told that the only security personnel nearby was Frank, her former lover. After scanning through his record, she had found he had volunteered to be assigned to this world, to this particular outpost, knowing full well she was here. Her anger burned hot, and the fact that their grav lift had failed almost 10 kilometers from the Fae capital didn't improve her mood. Blasted useless piece of junk, she muttered to herself. She sighed, laughed at herself, and thought, not its fault. What else would one expect for such a small, distant diplomatic posting? They were lucky to even have this antique. And so here they were, in the middle of a long meadow of green grass, as the sun slowly set in the distance. Her anger kept flaring every time she looked at Frank. What the hell was he thinking? The hairy giant oaf had followed her here. Why? To break her heart again? Bastard. She had buried herself in her work and put him in the back of her mind. The pain fading, but never truly disappearing. Damn him. Frank cleared his throat and quickened his pace, catching up with Jelena. Len, I know you are still mad at me. I'm sorry I transferred to the DC without telling you. Jelena stopped and spun on her heel to face him, almost running into him as he was caught off guard by her sudden stop. Look, I remember that you left me a year ago, 1 year. I have moved on. So should you. She spun back around and continued on at an even brisker pace. Frank took off after her. Hey now. I was given orders and we had to jump outbound that night. I left you a vidcom explaining everything. The Fae scout observing Frank and Jelena screeched with excitement. The Fae commander turned his optics on and viewed the sight of two giants standing eye to eye, their body language all but announcing impending violence between them. Good. The commander cackled gleefully. Perhaps they will destroy each other and our bio-bombs will finish what is left of them. Excellent. We will win this war yet. The commander stared at the now orange sky. Soon, he thought. Soon the fury of our bombs will be upon them. Too late to run. Too late to change their fate. Yelena stopped again, turning and facing him with smoldering fury in her eyes. Work called. Back soon. Love you, babe. Is not an explanation, Frank, she yelled. I can't believe you thought that was all our relationship was worth. She turned and continued her brisk pace. Frank, now confused, ran and stood in front of her and stopping her. What the hell do you mean? I left that message a week before I left. That was a separate mission briefing. What about the other vidcon? The longer one? Yelena paused. Now she was confused. What longer one? That was the last message on the vidcon, she yelled. All I know is that you transferred to the diplomatic corps on my first assignment and somehow talk yourself into being my escort in this world. Her voice trailed off, her anger all but spent, the familiar sadness and empty feeling returning. Look, Frank, that was the last message you ever sent me. It hurt. Did I mean that little to you? Did you find someone better and just move on? Did you love your job more than you loved me? Frank paused. No, he said silently. I don't love my job more than you. I haven't been the same. You never replied to all my messages. I tried so many times. I don't know what I did wrong. Then you transfer out here to this world. I had tried everything else. His voice trailed off. I don't know what I did wrong, Len. What happened to us? Look, I still have the message I sent to you. What was it that pissed you off so much? Frank activated his wrist comm and a small screen flashed up. Yelena read the message. Len, I've been told we need to leave for the Urt Cloud immediately. There's been an incident and it's an all hands on deck one. This might be bad, and I may not come back. Know this. I'm an asshole. Always have. Always will be. But you have made me a better man than I ever thought I could be. You have made me see that I can be more than just my job. You are my heart, my life, my being. I promise you this. I will bend the universe itself to be by your side again. Mit Jarda, Min Karlek, for Altid. My heart, my love, forever. Tears welled up in Yelena's eyes as she read the message. She stared at him incredulously. I never read this. When was it sent? Frank replied. The day I left. I couldn't contact you because you were in that diplomatic meeting with the Ursine delegation. I left the message on our home comm, hoping you would read it when you got home. Look. Yelena looked at the date sent logged and squinted. The white letters would be small even on a standard data screen. The light blue background didn't help at all. Her eyes widened and she suddenly slapped Frank on the back of his head. What the hell was that for? Frank yelled. Yelena took his hand and put the wrist comm to maximum magnification, focusing on the message delivery address. Frank looked, squinted, and his eyes widened in shock. Yelena spoke. According to this, you sent this message to the Ursine refugee colony on Luna, not to our home comm. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description.